Hello, family, and welcome to another Hot Bread Wednesday. I'm so happy to be here again with you all to share a message from the Lord. I'm going to hop right into today's message. It is a message about how to navigate the times of uncertainty. So if you're in a situation today where you don't know what God is doing and you don't know what He wants you to do, stay tuned. The title of my hot bread is God is Working Behind the Scenes. God is working behind the scenes. And so I'm coming from Exodus 2 today, which is an account of Moses' birth. And if you know anything about the time of Moses' birth, then you know that there was a decree in the land from Pharaoh that all Hebrew boys were to be thrown into the Nile River. And the reason for this is that, again, these were baby boys. The reason for this was because of the fear of overpopulation of the Israelites. And Pharaoh feared as they grew in number that they would eventually overtake him and overthrow him in power. And so this was a sort of remedy, I guess you would say, of avoiding that. And so Jochebed, Moses' mom, when she actually has Moses, a Hebrew baby boy at this time, she looks upon him and she sees that he had something special about him. You'll see in different translations that it says that he was a beautiful child, a fine child. The background to the word means pleasing or to be good. She was able to discern this about this child. And what I found most important in this is, many times we read this story about Jochebed leaving Moses by the Nile River and hiding him for 3 months prior to that. And we think that she did this out of fear. But what I came to find out after some study is that Jochebed didn't hide him in fear. She hid him in faith because she knew what God said. She understood what Pharaoh in the land had said. And people were saying that if you have a Hebrew boy during these times, good luck, they're going to perish. But because it was revealed to her that he was a special child, she hid him in faith. And that is one of my first takeaways, is that in times of uncertainty, are you standing on the promises of God? The doctor says there's nothing that we can do. I don't know if there's any other tools that we can use to help you. Your friends and family say this looks impossible. I don't see a way out of this for you. But what did God say? What has He, like He did for Jochebed, what have you been able to discern about your situation, or what's been revealed to you about your situation? Or yet and still, what is the word of God? What are the promises of God that you've forgotten that apply directly to what you're going through? Like Jochebed, we have to be in a space where, despite what is swarming around us, the messaging, the opinions, the decrees, we have to be more focused on what God says about our situation and uncertainty. Another takeaway is that God sometimes will use the things that were supposed to take us out as tools to save us. And why do I say this? In this account, we see that after Jochebed could not hide Moses for after the 3 months of being able to hide him, she builds a basket made of papyrus reeds, or another word for this plant is bulrushes. These are plants that grew in the Nile River. And so she uses these plants to weave a basket to put him in. And then she covers it with tar and pitch, which were two substances, kind of sticky tar-like substances that were used to waterproof the basket. And so as a protective means, these were things that were going to keep the baby, from getting any water into the basket and protecting him. And she went and she hid him among the reeds that were growing out of the Nile. How is it that the place that was supposed to be Moses' grave is now the place that is concealing him and protecting him? In our own lives, sometimes when we're going through times of uncertainty, we don't understand that what is seemingly being used for bad is being used to protect us. It's being used to save us. It's being used to perfect us, to grow us in relationship to God. There's so many things that God is doing, and He's working everything together for the good and for His purposes, right? To protect Moses in this depiction, we're protecting Moses because of the fact that we understand that later down the line that this is going to be someone who helps to deliver the Israelites out of bondage. And so that's a question for you all today. What situations are you in right now where God could be using what's happening as a tool to do something in you for a greater purpose? Another takeaway for this is that when we're in times of uncertainty, we have to have community. So many times when we're going through, we want to isolate, we want to stay by ourselves. But we see in Exodus 2 where Miriam, who is Moses' sister, after Jochebed has this basket and she places it among the reeds, and Pharaoh's daughter comes down to bathe, and she finds this child. Moses' sister Miriam is looking at a distance to see all of this happens. And she eventually goes over and asks the princess, would you like one of the Hebrew women to nurse this Hebrew child? And she said, yes, go. And who does Miriam get? Her mom, to be the one who gets to nurse Moses as he's in this royal palace, right? And so what better way and what better lesson for us that when we have people who are on our team, so to speak, people that know what we're going through, who are watching at a distance, but yet and still watching, and they are using their resources and whatever they can do to help you out in your situation. We want to make sure that we've got a Miriam somewhere by our side that God can use too to get us to where he needs us to be, and to help us in our struggles of uncertainty. And last but not least, it is that we must focus not just on the current, but looking at what we're going through in uncertainty on a bigger scale. We yet and still see in the story of Jochebed, who is letting Moses go. She's giving up something that she cares about and placing it into the hands of God because she trusts him with it. She doesn't know the outcome, but she knows who God is. And yet and still, her act of letting Moses go is now going to be a major factor in him surviving, being protected, and then eventually being an integral part of letting the people of Israelite go from Egyptian captivity. And so that's looking at the bigger picture. Sometimes when we're in times of uncertainty, it's not just about us, it's about eternal purposes where nations are affected, people and families are affected. It's bigger than us. And we have to keep our minds on that there are small things that we can do to entrust to God that have big purposes.